Jesus was a rock star.
Well, hey, friends and family, Rock Church. I hope you are doing well today. I'm doing pretty good. And I am wearing my new shirt. Now, this is a demo one. I just wanted to see how the quality was. And so you can see it's looking pretty good. And so we're going to have these Easter Sunday. We're going to be giving these away. Bring out canned food item to church. You can get one of these t-shirts. Also, I'm buying extra, so I have some for the parade next year. So good stuff. Really fun. Hey, and thank you so much for joining me. Today we have been going through Jesus and we, some of the most important things for our church right now that we want to be doing. And who we want to be. Last week we were faith-filled, big thinking, bet the farm, risk takers. We will not insult God with safe living or small thinking. We will not insult God by doing too little. We're going to push forward and be His. So good stuff. Appreciate so much you're joining me. And I would like you to please pray with me. We pray this every week, all the time. We say, Jesus, help me to be what you want me to be. Do what you want me to do, because people without you go to hell. So spiritual contributors. Okay, we at The Rock, we are spiritual contributors, not spiritual consumers. The church does not exist for us, but rather we exist for the church. Jesus and we are spiritual contributors, not spiritual consumers. Now, there's a little, I want you to think for a minute and put yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. When you go to church, are you a spiritual consumer or are you a spiritual contributor? Okay? Now, if you come and you drop the kids off and you get yourself a donut and stuff, and you're doing good, but you're just still kind of receiving and you're not, really contributing much yet, you are a spiritual consumer. Okay? If you're someone who's always doing stuff at church and doing it for other people, you are a spiritual contributor. So scale from 1 to 10. Think for yourself and take a minute. Think to yourself, what am I? 1 being Satan, 10 being Jesus. Okay, you're not Satan because come on, right? And you're not Jesus because you didn't die for anybody's sins. So on a scale from 1 to 10, where do you rank? You're a consumer or a contributor? I'll give you a little warning. That if when you get saved and you give your life to Jesus, you get excited about Him, maybe you're infatuated about Him. But if you have found your faith getting cold, if you've found your faith getting boring, it's because you have continued to be a spiritual consumer instead of a spiritual contributor. And so, if you become that, you will become an old fart, lazy, stinky, spoiled brat Christian. Did you know that there are old spoiled brats in the church? This is the old lady that got mad at me for taking 2 cookies, okay, when I was a little kid. That can be you. I don't want that to be you. Don't be a spoiled brat, old fart Christian, okay? Spoiled brat, old fart Christian. That's the phrase. Spoiled brat, old fart Christian. Don't want it to be you. Don't want it to be the people at The Rock, because we want to be spiritual contributors, not spiritual consumers. The longer that you know and love Jesus, you should love what He loves. What does Jesus love? He loves people. And the church doesn't exist for you, but you for the church. What, really, Scott? I thought you are the church, okay? And this is not a social club where we get our feelings met. We exist so that there gets to be more people in heaven. So if you are coming to The Rock, if you come in here and want you to see you, get you into heaven, and so there's that. I do want you to, I do want to preach and I do want you to grow just so you can squeak into heaven, okay? But I want you to know that you were intended for so much more than squeaking into heaven. God has a purpose and a plan for you, and that purpose and a plan depends on you being a contributor. This world needs you. God ordained for you to be part of His plan in somebody's life. That's pretty cool when you think about it. And so don't be a spiritual consumer. What life might be like if you're a spiritual consumer? If you say things like, I've been going to this church for a while and I'm just not feeling fed anymore. Okay, I'm just not. I didn't get anything out of that sermon. I didn't get anything out of it. That worship did nothing for me. You've actually heard people say this stuff, right? I just want to tell you that it is my personal belief that someone who says that, Jesus wants to reach out and slap you in the face because you missed the point of what it is to be a Christian, and that is to populate heaven. Okay, so at The Rock, we don't want to be that person. And if you are that kind of person, I'll probably irritate you at some point because we don't want to be that kind of person around here. We want to be the kind of Christian that the things that are important to Jesus are important to us. And so we will not be spiritual contributor, or we are spiritual contributors, not spiritual consumers. So I'm going to tell you that God calls you to serve in His church. Okay? You are the church. Now, the church has only been in building for a little while. Now, my people don't have a big problem with this because the reality is we don't have church in a church. And so it's really easy to convince them that we are the church because the church is a movie theater, all right? And so we sit in the movie theater and we enjoy our popcorn and our Starbucks coffee and a big honkin' donut. But can I tell you a secret? All of that is just to get people to come to church. It's just to make it as accessible as possible so we can tell people about Jesus. Okay, I want to steal a thunder from a couple weeks. In a couple weeks, we're going to talk about that we'll do anything short of sin to share Christ with somebody, and that is so true. But we want to be spiritual consumers. It was only about 313 AD that being a Christian was even legal. Okay, and then there were actually churches. So let's check this out from Romans chapter 12, verse 6. And it says, in His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. And if you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage, be encouraging. If it is to be giving, give generously. If God has given you a leadership ability, irritate everybody by telling them what to do. Take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. Jesus and we, God has called you to do something in His church. And if you don't do what God's asked you to do, you will become an old fart, spoiled brat Christian. And that's not what we want from you. Matthew 5:14, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand. And it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see that your good deeds. What's your light? Is it saying, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it It's not that. It's your good deeds. Deeds? I have to do stuff? I thought all I had to do was believe in Jesus and that would be good enough. Well, maybe you can squeak into heaven with some of that, but that's not God's destiny for you. He wants your good deeds to the end of the verse and glorify your Father in heaven. What do your deeds do? It glorifies your God. That is good stuff. That is good stuff. Now, I have to take off my change hats here a little bit, and rather than preach at you a little bit, I need to repent for something. And that is, I have not done a good job of getting people involved at church. Just so you know, I kind of tend to do too much. And I steal the blessing from people in the church. And so this last Sunday, I'm a little bit late making this video. This last Sunday, I shared this. And I shared with our people that, you know what, I dropped the ball in some areas. And I was really good about it. I said, here's the areas that I've dropped the ball. And not done a good job of connecting volunteers with volunteer opportunities. And can I tell you how grateful I am? After church, I think almost everybody in the place came up to me and said, Scott, we want to do stuff for you. And so now we're going to be putting together a little leadership team of people to do stuff in the church. And I'm going to give it to them and let them run with it. And I need to grow in this area. Our church needs to grow in this area because there's just too much to do. And so we're going to push forward, and we want to be spiritual contributors, not spiritual consumers. And God's the only one that can help us do that. God has a plan and destiny for your life. And it isn't just to sit around. I've been kind of joking around a little bit, spoiled brat, old fart Christians. But, the enemy, I think that he doesn't really need you to fall in sin for him to destroy God's plan for your life. All he's got to do is to get you selfish. And we are selfish. We tend to be selfish. You don't have to teach a kid how to be selfish. I am profoundly selfish when left to my own devices. And so I just want to encourage you today to say, Jesus, I love you. Thank you for dying on the cross for my sins. Thank you for rising from the dead. I get to be in heaven with him forever. And there's only one gift I can bring him that is going to be super beautiful and that he wants more than anything else. He wants me. That's pretty cool, right? He wants me. He wants you. He desires you there. So what can I bring him? What gift can I possibly give my Jesus that would make him smile more than anything else? Is it my singing? No, that's not my singing. Is it how many chapters out of the Bible that I read? No. It's bringing him other people. And so we want to serve at the Rock by loving people. Now, Easter Sunday, just to give you an idea of some of what this is going to look like, we are going to be bringing food to the food pantry again. And our whole church is going to be engaged and busy that day. There's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be in church that day. It's the people that come and they do stuff at church every week. We want to be that kind of church. And so please forgive me for not doing a good enough job of connecting volunteers with opportunities. But I want you to know that I'm going to do better, and we're going to do better. And we're going to love people the way Jesus would have us love. Because we have to show them with our deeds that we love Jesus. That's our light on a hill. It's the deeds and the things that we do for other people. So may the Lord richly bless you, and I hope to see you in church on Sunday.